I'm a coach for sports moms. I'm not a coach for kids. I can't tell them how to bat better or hit better or be a dog. But I can help you as somebody else is telling your kid and whispering in your kid and pressuring your kid to do things that they want them to do without consulting you. Because I've dealt with that as a sports mom myself of a kid who was under a lot of pressure from coaches and parents in the fucking stands and kids whispering in his fucking ear. I can help you navigate that stuff. Um, I'm not going to be able to tell you what coaches are looking for other than the obvious stuff. They look at the size of your kid, they look how they move, and they look at the grades. Those are the three things that they're looking for. But I can help you navigate some of the language that they tell you, because they will tell you whatever they want to tell you to get access to your kid and make promises that don't necessarily hold up in real life, because it's not necessarily so much my kid's experience, but it is partly, but it happens all the time. These coaches are men, generally speaking, and they say whatever they need to say to get what they want. If you've been in the world as a woman, you know that that's how that works, and it doesn't work differently in sports. It works the same. And I'll help you navigate that and discern and decipher what you're being told relative to what's likely to be real and relative to what you want for your kid. Because I know that you, as a mom, are not just raising this kid to be some athlete when you know that only 1% of youth athletes and college athletes end up going to the pros. Like, I've got a 6'8", 300 and something pound kid who's athletic and has an incredible sports IQ, and I don't know that he's going to go to the pros because he's been injured twice without really even playing that much football. In practices and in scrimmages and at camps is where he got injured. And so who fucking knows, right? So I'm raising my kid to be able to do more than just this. And so I want to be there as a coach for you, sports mom, so that you can be preparing your kid for more than just that ball-related activity that is short-lived regardless. The average NFL career is 3.5 years. So your kid's retired at 26. If you're lucky enough to get there, which is there's a 99% chance that you're not going to be. But if your kid goes there, they still need to be able to function in the world as an adult, functioning, capable, educated person. So there's a lot of these nuances where these men in these coaching positions and in these training positions and in these recruiting positions and in these positions of wanting to represent you because there's money involved, getting your money or money that somebody else is promising your kid, they want part of that. That's what's happening. But I can tell you about making sure your kid is academically prepared for life, because as quiet as it's kept, it is not a very well kept secret. That's the lowest thing on folks' priority who are in this game. Your kid's actual preparation for life as an adult. I hear them say we want to make them men, we want to do this stuff, and there are great things that happen in those cases. But I also know that kids aren't necessarily learning when they're in college or even in high school. And that someone is just making it okay for them to get to the next level, there's lots of ways for them to facilitate it looking like your kid is learning when they're not. And you might know that that's happening, and that might be okay with you. And if it's okay with you, then you're not going to be one of my clients, because we're not going to mesh on that. Because understanding how to read and write and do math and understand how things work are necessary skills for them to function in the world, because that's how human beings communicate, with numbers and words. And they've got to be able to master those. And it's going to happen long before college. But even if we're in college, we're going to make sure that that's happening. Critical thinking is happening. Able to understand how to function in the world. And basic adulting. you know, I'm not running a sports camp, so your kid's not going to be running up and down with me, but I can help them understand the critical aspects of what it means to be an adult. Can they take care of themselves? Can they cook a meal? Can they navigate the simple and the difficult things? Can they make a doctor's appointment for themselves? Do they know their health history? All those things that they keep calling you about, they need to be equipped to be able to do those things for themselves. And so, Adulting 101 is something I will be coaching you about. So, I don't do a lot of the stuff that the other guys do, and that's on purpose because my experience is very different, and I bring all of my life experiences to this work because it's too critical, and too many of our lives, especially lives of Black children, are spent wasted on an athletic dream that's not going to be fulfilled. It simply cannot be. And the system is changing right before our eyes, where opportunities for high school students to go to college on a scholarship is decreasing year by year. With the transfer portal, the money that's involved through collectives and NIL, the roster caps that came in this year, because there's more money involved, they're being more and more and more specific about what they buy, because they're buying your child's labor. And you need to be real about that. And so we're going to have real conversations about that kind of thing as well. What's actually happening is they're buying your child's labor. They're not giving you a damn thing. And people can complain about the money and how much money and the money's ruining it and whatever. But if they didn't have the money to pay at that level, and if they weren't reaping a 10x minimum benefit from your child's labor, then they wouldn't be offering that money. And so right sizing what this is, what you're getting your child into, whether it's the right thing to do, what pathway makes sense, how to overcome those early hurdles like NCAA eligibility, which catches more than probably 40%, maybe more, of talented athletes get knocked out of the race even before it starts to go for a college scholarship because their grades are not where they need to be. And nobody was paying attention to their eligibility. And coaches will just say, get your grades up. Or they make a study hall. But nobody's teaching the kids how to do that better. I'm an educator. I ran a tutoring company for 6 years. I had a 16-year career as an education policy researcher. I have a Harvard PhD. And I know how to think about this stuff. And I think about it all the time. And so my mission is to create a new reality where we are in charge of what happens to our children, and we're in charge of what happens to us. Because being a mother, especially if you're single or divorced, is all consuming. It takes up so much of your brain, there's very little left for you. And so as a human being myself and as a mother, I know that my own freedom and my own well-being was a big part of what I wanted to do once I had launched this kid successfully, is to come back to myself. And so we make plenty of room in our coaching for that, for you, to create your next play, your next step, your next plan. That centers you at the beginning and your life experience at the center. So that's it. That's what we do. What we don't do and what we do. It's good to know and be clear.